What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast. Happy Hour Hoops. Sunday is the last day of the regular season. Playoffs are here. I'm jacked up, boys. We got just a loaded show previewing playoffs, Western Conference, Eastern Conference, news updating teams that have guys coming back, guys going down. I mean, it's just great. I love this time of the year in NBA. All these last few games of the week seem meaningless, but also so important at the same time. I'm juiced up for this time of year in the NBA.
I love it. Juiced up. I'm fucking juiced up,
Juiced
baby.
up.
Let's go.
Juiced up.
We haven't
I'm not taking steroids, bro. I'm juiced up.
Are you sure?
I wish I was taking steroids, but no.
Honestly, hey, we've all thought about it at one point. Steve, how are you feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling as good as I can with the way the Mavs have been the past couple weeks. They're
I'm sure you love the report. I'm sure you love the report that they were considering sitting everybody for the season when there's still a game.
Tonight, both Luka and Kyrie are doubtful, and they're half a game out. So I'm done with them. I told you guys, I'm not going to let the Mavs ruin what could be one of the most competitive postseasons we've seen in a while. I really do think this is going to be. The West is a mess. We've talked about that. And I think the East, I know you have the top three teams that are good, but I think there's a lot of fun teams in the East too. I'm just excited to see how these races shape up. I'm excited to really see who's going to get the 8 through 6 seeds, because I'll tell you right now, if I'm a top 3 seed in either conference, I'm really not comfortable either way right now, depending on which team you could possibly be playing. And I think you're right, Dunny. There are a lot of teams that typically at this point in the year kind of check out. Some players, rest games, maybe they shouldn't. And I get it. If you're in the playoffs, you're already locked in the playoffs. You got to focus on the playoffs when it comes up. But there's big seed implications that can happen in these next 3-4 days. I mean, there are monster changes that could happen in seed implications. And I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at both of these conferences. The difference between getting a 3 seed and a 2 seed could be massive.
Yep.
Could be massive. The difference between being in the play-in or being in that 6 seed is huge. Yep. So I'm very excited to see what we'll have going forward these next couple days. I think we're going to see a lot of kind of playoff type atmosphere games before the playoffs, and I think that's what we want as NBA fans.
Well, just tonight, we tweeted it out earlier. There's 6 games with legitimate implications and everything you're saying. Lakers Clippers for control of the 6th seed, which is, you don't have to say anything else. Like, you avoid the play-in. The Warriors are still hanging around there too, but right now, whoever wins that game tonight is in the 6th seed after tonight in crypto. So it's going to be a crazy atmosphere there. Celtics, as we were talking about earlier, they can gain a half game on the Bucks, which is not insignificant in this race right now. Sacramento and Memphis can both try to gain a half game on Denver and in that race with each other. That's important. But your Mavs there can move into 10th with a win tonight. Huge game. And Atlanta and Toronto can both make a game on Miami for that in the spot up to get up there to try to get higher in the play-in. Avoid, the play-in in the East is set up, but there's some matchups. I would imagine everybody wants to avoid Miami, right? In that play-in. So
that has to be the team you
going to Miami, especially going to Miami for 2 games. No one wants, or 1 game. Right. Least, no one wants to do that.
Yeah, it's madness. We'll break down pretty much everything Jake just talked about and a little bit more once we get to the East and West. We're going to try to preview both conferences here, talk about the biggest things going on. Fly through the notes before we get to that, but there is some big ticket items here in the news and notes this week. Andrew Wiggins finally set to return this week. He's had over, close to 2 months total, I think, away from the Warriors because of personal issues. Look, I think we've all heard the rumors of what it might have been, and I don't think it's fair
Shams
to
reported, didn't he?
I didn't see what Shams said. I just saw
his father. His father had a medical issue that they were dealing with, and so
it was. There's some nasty shit going around about his fucking wife and kids, and it's just. I from the second I saw that I didn't think it was true. 1 and 2, it's just like the amount of people that ran with the story was crazy. But on top of that, or aside from that, just Wiggins coming back is such a huge, massive thing for the Warriors. I mean, he was probably their most consistent player through the playoffs last year for them. And I mean, we saw a drop off in their play when he left with the personal reason. Yeah. So
definitely.
And
he's their glue.
The playoffs last year. Go ahead. He's second best player in the playoffs.
That's
after Curry last year. He's the second best player for their run.
I mean, everything that we think Draymond does, everything that casual, or at least like most people will give Draymond the credit for, not cutting his slippage, is what Wiggins does for that team now defensively too. Like, he is easily one of the best defensive players in the league, one of the best two-way players in the league. And if he comes back and he doesn't look rusty if he looks like he's just Andrew Wiggins, and Andrew Wiggins for his entire career, say what you want, he didn't live up to the massive hype that was put on his shoulders, and it was massive. That let's not get it twisted that we were probably a little unfair towards Andrew Wiggins a little early on.
Calling him the next LeBron when
he
was
that's exactly. Tough. That's tough to live up to.
Tough to live up to. It's just a guy that has always been able to slot into any basketball situation and have an impact on the game, because that's what he does. Like, he's still going to get to the rim. He's still going to put up his shots. He's still going to play great defense. So even if he's not sharp, I still think, it's a scary. The Warriors now getting back together. Yeah, like they're
playing better right now too. They're starting to play good.
I didn't watch that game. I didn't get to watch any hoops last night, really. But that Thunder Warriors game, the highlight video of it, I'm so sad that I didn't get to watch any minute of that, because high level basketball.
Shea and Steph battling,
and that's your lower seeds in the West. When we get to talk about the West, those are the worst teams that are going to make the playoffs. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, Wiggins is going to be massive coming back. It should leave every other team in contention in the Western Conference should be a little frightened by this. And it's kind of perfect to have these two bullets on top of each other because of Wiggins' famous picture last summer when he just looks absolutely baked. The NBA is no longer prohibiting marijuana, which I think long time coming for this. We've heard many retired legends, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar probably being the biggest, saying that he still to this day smokes weed every day for his back pains that he endured during his NBA career. Steve Kerr, I know, is a big advocate for the same thing, back issues that he acquired during his playing years.
We've all heard your reasonings, guys. We got it. We're with you.
But yeah, and like even aside from that, Jake, you're right. Like just being able to use it recreationally, it's legal in so many states now. Players are allowed to drink when they're of age. It's silly that they wouldn't be allowed to do something like this. So long time coming. This is not David Stern's NBA anymore. It's Adam Silver's. He's smoking marijuana is no longer prohibited, and I don't know. I think it obviously it doesn't do much to the actual game, but it probably is just a comfortability level for the players, and I think it's a cool progressive thing that the NBA did.
Yeah, about time. It's an easy layup. JR's trying to make the Masters, bro. All right, let him cook.
I'm trying to remember. I'm gonna try to look it up quick, but there was 2 players at a rookie sophomore game it was All-Star weekend, but they got caught smoking weed in their hotel. And they got sent home from the weekend when they were playing in the rookie sophomore game. I think it was Mario Chalmers and someone else. but I'm gonna try to look it up quick.
I do. I vaguely do.
It's like Mario Chalmers and like DeJuan Blair or something.
Yeah. It was definitely DeJuan
Blair.
Here we go.
No, it was Darrell Arthur. Darrell
Yeah.
Arthur. Similar players. March Madness heroes Mario Chalmers and Darrell Arthur were thrown out of the NBA rookie transition program on Wednesday morning after being caught in their hotel room with marijuana and women, according to several sources. Okay, so it wasn't the All-Star. Yeah, it was the NBA rookies transition program. But yeah, stuff like that won't happen anymore. You're allowed to smoke weed in the NBA now, so that's cool. We
Stephen A is distraught.
Oh my god, he's gonna have to have a whole stay off the weed segment like every First Take episode now.
Yeah.
Just wait till someone goes 4 for 19 and 13 points in a playoff game. He's gonna be like, y'all know what he was doing the night before.
Dude, yeah, Stephen A is going to be requesting drug tests just out of curiosity, not even to get anyone in trouble. But we gained a superstar coming back from, well, I guess this wasn't injury. It was personal reasons for Wiggins. But, of course, we have to lose one because there's always negative news in the news segment. Julius Randle out 2 weeks, which massive blow for the Knicks, who, I don't know, they kind of been being the Knicks towards the second half of the season, holding that spot in the middle of the Eastern Conference standings, but at the same time, haven't really been as impressive. Obviously, Jalen Brunson's been amazing throughout, but just supporting cast and the team as a whole has been pretty up and down. But I don't know about you guys, but I think they need Julius Randle to win a playoff series.
Oh, absolutely. And Randle is one of those guys who last year was a little bit disappointing and kind of became not necessarily a meme, but people were like picking at him like, oh, he was a one-year wonder, choked to the playoffs, he can't do it. And Randle has arguably been their best player this year. I know Brunson's been incredible, but Randle has gotten back to that all-star type player that he was, and he's been having a great year. And I think that it would have been huge for the Knicks because that first, having to carry a team playoff series, it was tough. It was a brutal series for him. I think he probably learned from that. And we saw he learned from a down year. He bounced back this year, had a great season. And I think that would have helped him a ton in the playoffs. But now you lose him. You don't know when he's coming back. I think it's going to be 2 weeks, but you really don't know when he would come back in that series, if he even came back, if they rushed it back or whatnot. And you're going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have a power forward of their own in Evan Mobley, who has made that leap in the second half of this year. And to lose a guy like Randle in that playoff series, I think is detrimental to the Knicks right now, where I thought that was going to be probably the most fun first-round playoff series if we got it, Knicks Cavs. But now without Randle, I don't think they have anything down low to face Mobley and Jared Allen down there. I really don't. I think it's going to be a pretty big mismatch in the Cavs' favor now. And I know Jake's got the Cavs hat on. He's probably happy about the fact that the Cavs have a little bit
Dude, do you think I was – do you – hold on. Do you think I was scared of Julius Randle going
No. But hear me out here. You would rather face the Knicks without Julius Randle than with Julius Randle. Of course. So from that perspective, I think the Knicks probably could have gave him a series with Randle, but now it's just tough. And it's classic New York Knicks, right? They got everyone's hopes up. Brunson was balling, Randle was balling. Yeah. And as soon as they made the deal with Josh Hart, it's like, oh, the Knicks figured it out, and then they started slipping, and then Randle gets hurt. Classic Knicks
don't get too ahead of yourself with the Cavs in that series, though, because all that means is the Knicks are just going to bomb threes, and what have the Cavs been bad at all year? I've told you guys so many times. They can't defend the three-point line. The Knicks are going to win 2 games in the series because they're going to shoot 45% from three. That's just what's going to happen without Randle. It would have happened with Randle.
A lot more small ball from the Knicks this series. I would assume so, right?
But that might – I don't know. I don't know if they want to take I don't know. It depends with the Cavs chess matches because the Cavs might just go small too and just be like, all right, we're not going to play Mobley and Allen together. It's going to be interesting without Randle. But Brunson is really the most terrifying. Brunson cooked Mitchell last year.
Can I drop a little breaking news on Brunson that doesn't really have to do with the Knicks?
What did he do?
Apparently, Woj just retweeted this. Mark Cuban is blaming Rick Brunson for the Mavs losing Jalen Brunson in free agency, saying things went south when the parents got involved.
Oh my God! No, Cuban, you gotta eat your own mistakes. You gotta eat your own mistakes.
Damn.
We know this though. They hired his dad to be a coach. Like everybody saw it coming. It's like the.
That's just Cuban.
He says that when he's a game out of the play.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just Cuban trying to cover himself because he's like, "Oh, we probably should have brought Brunson back." Looking at this state of his team
454 was on the table, and they
stop. Please stop. Don't bring that up.
Yeah, I know. I didn't mean to bring the Mavs into this, but
yes, you did.
They have to be mentioned.
I really did.
Yes, you did.
You guys said Brunson as I was reading Brunson's name. I was like, all right, I have to bring this up.
It was God's intention.
Going back to it, I think this would be a very fun series, but other than Jake, what you just mentioned about that, the Cavs struggle to guard the 3-point line. It is kind of crazy how, I don't know, like I feel like the Cavs almost cancel out everything that the Knicks are good at, even at full strength. Like Randall is obviously, arguably their best player, and you guys have. He has to deal with Mobley and Jared Allen for a series. And then Jalen Brunson is amazing, and he just had a very good, him and Mitchell just had a battle last week where they were just going at it. But, like, that alone is an example. Like, Mitchell and Garland can cancel out.
Garland's been so bad lately, dude. I don't even want to assume anything.
Mitchell's made up for it right now.
Yeah,
Mitchell's
been because he knows he has to because Garland is in like it's a funk. Like it's a weird thing right now. So hopefully if it's not
he gets
Mitchell,
out of it before next
and that's
week.
It's like weird because it feels I'm very worried about it being two ships passing in the night where Garland's gonna figure it out and Mitchell has been so hot at the end of the year and I would rather him be scoring 40 points against the Knicks in game 1 than in games against Orlando in game 78, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I think the series starts game 3. I think the Cavs are going to win pretty easily game 1 and 2 because they've been great at home all year. They've been not great on the road, and they've lost both games in New York this year. So that's really, I think, depending on what the Knicks look like without Randall at home, how much juice they get just from MSG, and if the shots are falling better. If they win one of the first games, then I'm very worried going into New York.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with
which
that.
obviously that's not like a crazy statement, but I think that the Cavs are very lucky that they're the 4 seed here.
Yeah,
not lucky, they earned it, but
yeah, no, I know what you mean. That's true. Knicks fans obviously hoping Randall's back. I think Jake, even you would agree with this. Like you would want to see Randall at some point in this series. Just honestly, sometimes
I never want guys hurt in a playoff series.
Right. Especially like for one obviously not the biggest reason, but like the worst is when your team has a huge win against like an also good team, and then everyone on Twitter and social media is just like, oh well, we didn't have this guy, like would have been different, like sick win.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, man. Like I didn't ask for Julius Randle to get hurt.
The playoffs are a war of attrition. That's really what it comes down to. Like and that's what it's been every year for how many of the last years. Like has there been a playoff? At least one of those finals teams in the finals probably got a little bit of a break because another team got injured. Mm-hmm. You look Kawhi, you got Middleton. I mean, even before the Bucks the years before with Kyrie and Harden, like all these teams skating by because of injuries. Yeah, I feel you though. It's not gonna change it. If Randall doesn't play the whole series, the Cavs get no credit from Knicks fans on winning that series at all. And that's a lot of people.
You're gonna lose sleep about that, but
no, I'm ready for war, bro. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. It's gonna be a fun couple weeks.
Other big man out for season, not 2 weeks. Naz Reid out for the season for the Timberwolves. If you're just a casual watcher, you get to the NBA playoffs, you see a Timberwolves game, you might not even have noticed or known who Naz Reid is, but he has taken a massive leap for the Timberwolves this year. He's been playing great. He added a 3-ball to his game. He's just really been one of their more consistent players that, outside of Anthony Edwards and, he's their most consistent role player, I would say.
For sure, yeah.
Agreed.
And
He stepped up big time when Cat was out too.
Right.
Yeah,
Big
That's
time.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. He's good at giving Gobert and Cat a rest, or come playoff time, if they had foul trouble in a big game, I'm sure he would have been huge. So that's more of a hit to the Timberwolves that I think people realize. Naz Reid out for season definitely sucks, but excited to see what he has for next year, because like I said, he made a huge jump.
Yeah.
He was super fun to watch in college as well. I didn't even think his game would translate like this, but obviously it has. So we wish for Naz Reid a speedy recovery.
It's crazy seeing all these big men just start to develop threes out of nowhere now.
I know.
Right? Naz Reid, if you told me from college that this guy was going to start shooting threes and making them consistent, like, you're out of your mind. He's got a great three ball.
I will say, if you follow basketball, or if you played 2K and somehow got Naz Reid on your team, you figured out, oh my God, this guy is like Naz Reid. Bro, in like a finals game, a computer Naz Reid gave me like a fucking like LeBron stat line one time. He's just pulling up like from the three, cash it. Like Naz Reid 2K. If you're a 2K person out there, that's it. That's my word of advice.
Let's go. I love that. You got to find those when you're making an association or any sort of draft team in 2K. You got to find those gems. All right. Well, that was all the news points. I have a few spicy hot takes to end this segment.
Oh.
Well, I guess one's really only a hot take. The other one, I've seen enough. Joel Embiid's the MVP. I don't know if that's a hot take anymore. Last night solidified it for me, man.
Wow.
I'm sorry, dude. Jokic should not win the MVP. It's Embiid put up the most effortless 50 ball I've literally ever seen. That is not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration.
Okay, so I said this
he was bothering Tatum at the rim all game. Like he went up against Tatum. Tatum always gets the best of Embiid. Not last night. Tatum looked bad at most parts of the game.
Yeah,
couldn't get around Embiid at the rim, and Embiid had a 50 ball on mostly mid-range jump shots.
Yeah. Oh, his mid-range games.
It was disgusting, man.
His defense has been great this year too. And
I have a question for you both.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
You go first. Yeah.
Do you think the Celtics that was kind of the game plan last night though? Because just let him do. If he's gonna do that, whatever. Because really, like the Sixers didn't score great outside of him. Field goal percentage wasn't great outside of him. Everything.
Abysmal game.
No, not at all. And Celtics it was him carrying. And like on one hand, yes, it's Embiid. Like you got to give him credit, everything. But I feel like when you first, I saw your tweet about Grant being on Embiid to start the game. That was the first thought that popped in my head. I was like, okay, so their plan is just let him eat and shoot. If he wants to shoot mid range all day, fine. Like we'll take that. It didn't work, but it also, maybe if Jaylen Brown was there, it would work. But go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
No, the only thing I was going to say is I think the big thing that was defending Jokic to win an MVP earlier in this year was the team's success. And granted, they're still first in the West, but this Philadelphia 76ers have the same record as the Denver Nuggets now, which is crazy we're saying that. They have the same record. And the other thing, too, is Jokic is no longer averaging a triple-double. And whether that's a big deal or not, it's 9.8 assists. It's not a big deal to me. But some people look at that, and view it the wrong way. My biggest reasoning why I think Jokic should have won it is the fact that Jokic is playing his best year out of the 3 years, I think, of his MVP seasons. The first 2 years, I think this is Jokic's best season. But what we've seen the past, month or so is he's been getting exposed a lot on the defensive side of the ball, and people are very concerned for the Nuggets going into the playoffs.
Steve, did I send you that stat? Did I send you guys that tweet? About him being the worst defender against layups,
I think
according to Second
you did send that. And that's the thing. It's like now that we're getting closer to the postseason, this kind of, honeymoon phase of the Nuggets regular season has kind of worn off. And people are like, all right, is Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Jokic, one of them's got to figure out how to play defense. One of them, you have to have one of your top 3 players know how to play defense. And Jokic has been getting exposed, and it also helps too that Embiid, I know he sat out one of the games, has played well in big games when he's gone up against other superstars. And Embiid has been the best player in the second half of the season. I don't think it's been close. I think Embiid's clearly been the best player. My biggest thing, though, is I think Embiid is going to get it this year because of the fact that oh, he's been an MVP type player these past 3 years. He's got to get one, right? And that's where I kind of disagree with how the way the NBA does it, because I think if Embiid got the MVP in the first year of these three, Jokic won last year, I think the conversation's much closer this year. But because Jokic won too, I can't stand it, but it's just a matter of the fact that's just how they do it. But because Jokic won 2 and Embiid was right there both years, and this year he was right there. Jokic was clear at the start of the year. Don't get me wrong. Jokic was clear. But then the Nuggets started slipping a little bit. The 76ers got better. And then the second half of the season, Embiid has been the best player. I think that's where people can just kind of make the justification. All right, Embiid's been balling. It's time for him to get his MVP, which I don't like how they do it that way, but I think that's how they're going to do it, Dunny. So I don't think it's a crazy take to say Embiid's the MVP. Who do I think's the better player? That's neither here nor there. If we're talking about best player, I'd still take Giannis over both of them. You could call me crazy if you want, but I would.
Giannis is going to get a lot more votes than we think from
he should. And he should. If we're going like who is the best player, Giannis to me is kind of like the Mahomes effect in football, right? Where he could win it every single year just because of the jaw-dropping stat lines and plays he makes on a nightly basis. But I think the way this season's set up and the way the 76ers have been playing, I think it really does bode well for Embiid getting the MVP this season. Even though I don't think the reasons are the best, I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve it because he's playing like an MVP. There's just a couple other guys that are also playing like an MVP.
Yeah, I think the two things that put it over the top for me too is, I mean, we already mentioned it, but like the when you just stack up their two defenses, Embiid blows them out of the water. Yeah. And it's most valuable player for a reason. Player with both sides of the balls, it should be included in that breakdown. And I feel like almost now more than ever, like people love the whole two-way player thing. Like, what are you doing for me on the offensive end? That's great. But can he defend the perimeter? Can he protect the paint if he's a big man? Like, Embiid checks those boxes. The Joker doesn't. And then the other thing, obviously it sucked. Last game, Embiid didn't play when the two matched up. But earlier in the season when they matched up, Embiid just crushed it.
Yes.
And that should be considered in the race, in my opinion. I agree with you, though, Steve. I think the way they do it about like, oh, who won it this year? Blah blah blah. Like, what is this? Yeah, it's just it's a little too much politics involved in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. I just the 50 ball last night, the effortless mid-range jump shots, the blocks on Tatum. It was enough for me. I think Embiid's the MVP. Jake's gonna love my second hot take to end the news and notes. Donovan Mitchell has 4 consecutive 40-point games.
Insane.
That's ridiculous. That's some Kobe shit. That's some James Harden shit. And that being said, I was thinking in my head today about guys that Donovan Mitchell has officially passed for me as far as I think he is a better player than these guys. And my mind won't be changed until next season. Like, it has to be a start over. If one of these guys passes him next season, fine. But I don't even think it will happen. I think he's going to be ahead of these guys going forward. Some might be obvious. It's kind of hard to compare a few of these guys, but I think Donovan Mitchell is now better than Kyrie Irving. I think he's a better player than James Harden. I think he's a better player than Trae Young. I think he's a better player than Paul George. And I think he's a better player than Ja Morant.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because obviously – like, you look at the skills Kyrie has, but then you look at team success and how Kyrie's been around teammates. Like Donovan Mitchell went to the Cavs, made him a lot better. Kyrie Irving, we talked about this last week. You don't need to repeat it, but the teams have not got. Yeah, they did.
On Kyrie, bro.
Yeah, I know. We're not repeating that one. TikTok comments got to Dunny.
But there was just no context. I wasn't saying they were bad because of his play. I'm saying they're bad because of who Kyrie is and what he does to teams. But
I know. But it's tough in a 30-second clip to have the context that get incinerated by 12-year-olds on TikTok who think they're NBA experts. Anyways, the only one that I think is kind of tough for me, which is kind of crazy of the 5 you mentioned, but it's a completely different player That Paul George, right?
Yes, dude, that's the one who I was
Paul
like, can
George
I say this?
Paul
He's
George
such a better
laps Donovan Mitchell defensively.
Yeah, that was the tough thing.
And Paul George is another guy too who I think is like once super underrated still. Like when Paul George is just in his bag, he's incredible. And that's kind of a tough comparison because Paul George is more of a stretch forward to me. Donovan Mitchell, obviously more of the that guard who can run the offense through him. He can play off the ball, get his shot, whatever. But that's the only weird one. I think Ja Morant, the big thing with Ja Morant, he makes these highlight reel plays, but we still haven't seen enough consistency, I think, out of Ja. I think Ja's ceiling could be better than Donovan Mitchell's, even though Donovan Mitchell scored 71 points in a game. Like if we're talking ceilings, he's shown the ceiling this year.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys can't say what Donovan Mitchell's done this year. And it's crazy because last year – we were saying the opposite, where, these guys should be better than Donovan Mitchell. But now we've completely reversed it. But my thing to you, Donnie, is I have two more names. And I know you're going to hate me bringing up these names.
I know who you're going to say. I think
SGA or Donovan Mitchell.
I thought about putting SGA in. I think I would take Mitchell. I think I'll take Mitchell.
I'll take Shea.
I think I'm leaning Mitchell as well, just because. And I love Shea, but I think Shea's got a little bit of the Ja effect where he plays at his pace. He makes these crazy type of plays, but I think Mitchell's a better overall player a little bit. And then the other one, Donnie, I know where you're going with this, but I have to say it because I think it's closer than it was at the start of the year. Jaylen Brown or Donovan Mitchell?
I think it's Mitchell, man.
I think it might be Mitchell too,
it's crazy because it's the same thing with Paul George. It's like Brown clears on the defensive end.
Yes.
And Jaylen Brown's such a good offensive player too. But it's just like we're talking like the scoring that Mitchell has done this year is like you can't ignore it. A 70-point game, 4 consecutive 40-point games. It's the volume 3-point shooting he has in some games, the ability to shoot over guys who are much taller than him. He has a better handle than Jaylen, I think. I think he's a better playmaker than Jaylen. I mean, I think that's subject to change because I think both guys are still getting better like every game, it seems like. But, and maybe it would be different if we ever saw Jaylen Brown as a number one somewhere. But I don't think I can say JB is better than Donovan Mitchell right now.
I was just curious because I know you love JB. You've been standing on JB for the past 3 years here. But I think Mitchell too is just, and that's the biggest thing. And Mitchell's just shown it this year where I told Jake before this, I'm falling in love with the Cavs in the postseason because I think Mitchell just has found that new level. And I think he's going to be able to carry this team where he's surrounded by some really good defenders, some really good playmakers. We'll see. I may be eating my words here, but
who would have thought
it's a crazy take.
The sentence I'm about to say for the Cavs?
Oh boy.
I need a healthy Isaac Okoro. hasn't played in like weeks. Knee soreness. I need him back.
Oh my god!
You miss Okoro. What a 180 you did on Okoro.
He is the running mate that Mitchell needs, bro. Because he
Isaac Okoro or Jaylen Brown.
Clip that one for TikTok.
Well, when you're gonna have Isaac Okoro when Jaylen Brown's on the Cavs next year.
Stop it!
So
you guys didn't hear?
Nice.
Actually, I should have put this in the news as well. Jaylen Brown was, a couple weeks ago, he said in a post-game interview, he looks forward to clearing all that stuff up from the Ringer article. And yesterday, if you guys have the time to watch it, he had a sit-down interview with Shams. It was fantastic. He said he called Jason Tatum a brother. The only thing that could make their time playing together sweeter is if they can get a championship. It would put a ribbon on everything. He talks about how close he is with Marcus Smart. Talks about how he likes being in Boston. It was just it was basically a breath of fresh air if you're a Boston Celtics fan and we're worried, if JB's head's in it. Does that define anything as concrete going forward for Jaylen Brown's future? No, but it definitely was just good to hear, and it definitely cleared up some of the things that I feel like people were for sure taking out of context from that article. The people who love to just read the headlines and not dive into things. So I thought that was cool as well. I don't know if you guys had an opinion.
I didn't see it yet. No, I didn't even get to see it yet. JB is, I think he's been very He's been he wanted to get his word out, and then he wanted to get back out there and be like, listen, all that shit I said, I still just want to win a title. And that's the point for the last 2 weeks, like since that article came out. Like, guys, like, what are we talking about here? Do you know who I am? I mean, like, that's what I feel like it's been like the reaction basically for him. So good on him for getting out there and setting it straight.
Also, just cool tidbit for if you're listening to this and haven't seen the interview too. He said that him and Smart have gotten so heated at each other that they've put each other in headlocks in the locker room, which I just thought that was sick. Like, imagine JB and Smart
start like a WWE brawl in the locker room.
I could see that from Smart, bro. I'm sure he's tried to put about everyone on the team on a headlock.
Marcus Smart's definitely one of those dudes that like tried to wrestle like everybody at some point. Like just has tried to like tackle you to the ground at some point in your life, no matter what.
Just leg sweeps on Grant Williams every day.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, now we've got the hot takes out of the way. News and notes are done. We're in full playoff mode now. I want to start the East with because we just talked about how the Sixers and the Nuggets have the same record now.
Yeah.
Do you guys think I forget where I saw this, but I saw this question posed on Twitter the other day.
Okay.
Are the best teams in the league the Bucks, Celtics, and Sixers right now? Is the top 3 seeds in the East, are those all 3 the best teams in the league?
I'll give you the first 2, but I think you can really debate a few teams for that third spot right now. I think you can debate a few teams. And I told you this, like, I think I said it last week, healthy Kevin Durant, the Suns are probably the third best team in my mind. I really truly believe that.
I like that.
But I think you can debate a few teams, but I also think you can't really debate the top 2. Whether you want what order you want to put them, that's fine. But it's Milwaukee, Boston. I really do think it's Milwaukee, Boston. I think Philly's close. They're getting there. They're playing great right now. But I don't think you can just say they're for sure the third best team.
I don't think they are. I was just wondering where you guys were at.
No, the Lakers are the third best team, guys. Come on.
Stop it.
I honestly think I'm
half joking, but dude, they have like I need to look. I meant to look this up before. The record since the trade deadline is it's really crazy.
Good. It's crazy. Really good.
I don't think the Lakers are the third best team, but I think the Lakers are better than the Sixers. I actually agree with that.
Wow. Okay.
I think the Sixers. The consistency is the scary thing, but no, they don't.
I'll tell you right now. I said the same thing a couple weeks ago, but totally different teams. I'll tell you right now. Miami gets to that 6th seed, and they play Philly in the first round. You bet you know who I'm betting, Donnie. You know a fact who I'm betting to win that series. Now I think they match up well, but I mean it's tough because it's like Philly fans are going to be distraught if they have another early exit.
Well, they're going to
I think the Sixers are good. I just don't know if they're playoff, like make a run type good.
Well, I had this here. Do you guys think they blow everything up if they first or second round exit?
Everything up besides probably Embiid, right?
Right. Like, I mean,
unless he asks for a trade.
Yeah. Fire Doc maybe, and then James to Houston.
I've seen that. I've seen James to Houston, which Houston's got its own issues, but I definitely think if they exit early, James is probably gone for sure.
Yeah.
And then probably a few role players. I think they would try to build around Maxey and Embiid. I think they're finally starting to believe in Maxey. I know they was kind of up and down at the start of this year, but when he's been a starter in the lineup, he's been very good shooting, sometimes inconsistent. But I think he's someone who can be very, very good. Maybe a number 2 option on this team after Embiid. So I wouldn't be surprised if they lost early to try to rebuild what they have around Joel.
I think Doc's gone no matter what. If they don't win the finals this year, I think Doc's going to be gone. Honestly,
wow.
That's where I think they're at this point. I mean, it never lasts. It's not like he's like a 10-year coach any place. And him and Joel have been. There's been some quotes out there the last couple months where they're referencing each other on some unhappiness. And James Harden in the playoffs is still a very big looming storyline around Philly. I can't pick them as the third best team in the playoffs, like going into the playoffs for that reason more than anything. So I think it would be, I wouldn't pick the Cavs either. I think it would have to be a West team for me. I think I'm with you, Steve. The Suns, maybe just because.
Yeah.
Or the Warriors. If Wiggins comes back and looks,
they got to win on the road. They got to win on the road.
But Wiggins
I
will
can
help
call
that
third
defense
best
on
team.
the road
Yeah.
immensely. But yeah, I mean, it's a joke. We talked about it
They're
last
still
week.
single digits, right? Still single digit wins on the road this year.
Lakers,
Big 9,
so the Lakers had that February 11th
check
Saturday
that.
night game against the Warriors. They're 16-7 since then.
It's really good. It's really
Yeah,
good.
Warriors still 9-30 on the road.
It's unbelievable. We're talking about maybe the third best team.
But they've got 40 wins.
I know, that's disgusting,
That's crazy.
bro. The reigning champs have won 9 games on the road, and we have 3 games left.
But that's the
so
thing.
Right now, if the seeding ended right now, if the Warriors wanted to repeat, I think they'd have to win more road games in the playoffs than the regular season if they wanted to repeat.
Yeah, they would.
That's
because they'd play the fucking Suns in the first round.
It's actually crazy.
Well, yeah. But
unless they win every game at home, but still, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
but if there's any team that's going to do it, isn't it the Warriors?
Oh
Right,
yeah,
that's the thing.
If there's anybody who can flip a switch, it's the Warriors. I just wanted to get this up here. We don't have to go deep into it, but if there's any team that can flip the switch of these West teams, I think I trust them the most, more than Suns, more than Lakers.
Yeah. It is like you mentioned, Jake. It's all going to depend on Wiggins. I just can't.
I didn't think he was coming back at all, though. So the fact that he's back is huge.
It's just gonna be tough. Like it's literally gonna be like how, because he was so on point last year in the playoffs. It's almost gonna be impossible for him to be better than that and even repeat that. I think
better,
obviously. Yes,
so he
Clay is
have
better
to
than last year.
Yeah,
they fucking brought back Gary Payton. Dude. They let him walk and then traded back for him. They literally have their championship roster still there. That is the scariest thing.
They got 90-year-old Andre Iguodala too, right?
Yeah.
DiVincenzo is gonna have 27 points in a playoff game.
I'll tell you,
he's been great.
He really has, and it's like the numbers don't really justify like how much of an impact he's been making. Like when I watch a Warriors game, like Dante DiVincenzo's playing great tonight.
Big shots for them too, timely shots. Jordan Poole is disgusting last night too. Let's finish the East before we get to the West, because I'm sure we have much more to say about the Warriors. We were talking benches, we were talking depth on these teams. I wanted to ask you guys, because I feel like I always hear mixed things, or a lot of the time I hear that the Bucks have like a fantastic bench. And this isn't me just like, a Celtics fan hating Milwaukee. I'm not that crazy about the Milwaukee Bucks bench. What do you guys think about it?
They got potential 60 Portis is pretty the big reason there, and then you got Grayson Allen and Javon Carter,
Pat
Connaughton, Joe Ingles.
Wes Matthews.
It's okay, like it's fine. I think it's better than most benches in the NBA, and I think the big thing for the Bucks bench, it works for the way the Bucks team is
I think that's
shaped up. I think that's why the Bucks bench just kind of works. It's maybe not the most talented bench in the NBA, but it's a bench where it works, where they can plug these guys in and everything's going to be good. It's not like they're going to play all these 5 guys at once, right? They're gonna move them in here and there a little bit. They'll play this guy for 10 minutes, this guy for like 5 or 6 minutes. Giannis will still be on the court, or Middleton will be on the court, whoever it is, Drew, doesn't matter. I just think it kind of works for how the way they built their team. I think that's why people kind of like the Bucks bench, because it's just a bench where it's like these guys don't really go off, but they play enough minutes to make an impact, and it kind of helps them. I don't think they're the most talented bench, but it's a bench that just kind of works.
Yeah, I guess that must be what it is, and that's probably what everyone else sees too. Like they have the shooting, right? They have some size. They have Portis, who obviously, when I say that, I'm not questioning Portis. Portis is a great bench player.
It's crazy that they can play through Portis, but you really can play like through him offensively, and then those shooters on that bench are like perfectly set up. But I think the Bucks Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it really is just the shooting at the end of the day. Like they just have guys out there who can knock down shots, and
that's all you need around Giannis.
Bobby Portis and 4 shooters. That's what you need, right?
And that's what it comes down to.
Big tough guy down low and shooters.
What it comes down to me with the Bucks is that they might be, unless Derek White's starting every playoff game, they might be my favorite 5-man starting lineup, like like no holes in that lineup. When you talk about Lopez, Giannis, Middleton, Drew, who's been starting alongside them, it's been that 4 spot's been so crazy all year. I don't know what the last couple weeks have been, but it doesn't even matter. Like whoever's getting those minutes in that slot there, Portis, if they want to play really big, or
Jay Crowder.
Or Crowder, of course. Yeah, Crowder's been getting the minutes recently. Then there, I mean, that's a lineup with really no holes. I feel like defense, maybe a little bit, maybe shooting wise a little bit, but you have Giannis, so who cares? Yes. Like he's gonna dictate everything.
I guess the thing that worries me most about the Bucks bench, if they get caught in a long playoff series, like if they get in like a 6-game series and then a 7-game series in the Eastern Conference Finals or something, I just worry about their bench's age and mobility.
For sure.
They're gonna be playing Crowder, Wes Matthews, and Joe Ingles, huge minutes. Like like those guys are great shooters. They can give you valuable minutes, but will those guys get burnt out? Like all 3 of those guys could easily burn themselves out.
They have that's a great point. And we're gonna see Holiday and Giannis minutes are going to be crazy in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Those two are going to be like what we've seen the last couple of weeks is what they're going to have to do to compete with the scoring. Like just because Middleton's he's not going to score like he has the last couple of years. It's just not going to happen.
But he's been playing better. He's been playing better lately.
But I'm not expecting him to be second star scoring if Brown and Tatum are both going off. Like it's going to be Holiday who's going to have to do it alongside Giannis. And that's kind of how it was last year too, honestly. Or it really was last year, obviously. And it worked for them. Like it got them to the precipice of making the NBA Finals. I think that they've kind of solidified just with more shooting around there. But that's a very good point because if Holiday slips for any reason, gets nicked up, I don't even know if Giannis can get nicked up. We saw him literally his knee twist in half and then he put up 50 points.
Later. Yeah. And averaged like 38 and 15 for the next 2 weeks. But it's like
disgusting, man.
That's it just gives them so many options, right, Jake? They just have so many options. And they can afford to play Giannis and Drew those giant minutes because they'll look during the regular season too. These guys will slowly move in and out of the starting lineup. There was a lot of times this year where Middleton didn't start. They will have Connaughton start some games. They will have Grayson Allen start some games. If they're playing big, they'll have Jay Crowder start some games. They'll play Bobby Portis at the end of games if they really want to play big. And they'll play Portis, Giannis, and Lopez at the same time. But they'll also play small. And it just kind of works. And like I said, Dunny, maybe like on paper, it's like maybe this isn't the most talented bench, but they're veterans. They're guys who are experienced, who are used to playing in these situations. They have a little bit of a mix with some young guys as well. They have the shooters, which you want, and they have good defense and rebounding. And you can just kind of mix and match that, how it works with whatever game flow is going on in that game. So maybe on paper, it's not the most talented bench in the world, but I think it's one of the better benches. And I think it's a bench that works with what the Bucks want to do.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I mean, it's obviously super successful. I feel like whenever I'm watching a Bucks game, like commentators are like gawking over the Bucks bench. I'm just like, dude, it's just they're like, are we really that excited about Jay Crowder and Joe Ingles and Grayson Allen?
It's a lot of names too, and that's the thing is it is a lot of names that are like It's like we've heard those names a lot in basketball. So it's like, oh, look at this. It's like, and that's kind of what the Bucks team looks like right now. And it's a valid question, Dunny, because we've seen those teams in the playoffs get broken down a little bit. We've seen these teams that were and the Bucks are definitely a team. They're paying out the wazoo for their stars and everything else. They're trying to fill holes, minimum guys here and there and everything. Yeah, it can go. And whatever that semifinal combination is, if it's not the top 4 seeds, then one of those teams earned their way to the semifinals and got through a great team, and it should not be discounted in any series. It's going to be a war. Like if it's Milwaukee, Cleveland, that's really what I'm talking about here. I don't think the Knicks are going to do it. Cleveland's played Milwaukee so strong. And if they have some slippage against a team like that, like the margins are not that thin between Cleveland and Milwaukee. I think that would surprise people. Or even if it got to the conference finals, it could be quick for Philly or Boston if there's something, a real kind of issue where those older guys can't keep up, especially with the Celtics bench and everything else. Like the Philly bench. I don't care about the Philly supporting cast really at all. It's Embiid or bust
bad,
there,
man.
Yeah. That's what that is.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's funny. I was watching the Celtics Bucks game last Thursday with my dad, and Joe Ingles like bricked a 3, and then they zoomed in on him after. My dad was like, "Who the hell is that guy? That was such an ugly shot." I'm like, "He's actually a shooter." Like, it's funny that's what you see of him. And but then you think that you're like, "Who is this old guy that's just bricking 3s out there?" But anyway, I rest my case. They're probably pretty good. They're the number 1 team in the NBA right now. They're doing something right. Man, Atlanta, Toronto, and Miami. The play-in, the fringe play-in group, bottom of the East. I mean, we've talked about Miami. No team wants to see them in the playoffs. I'm sure no one's looking forward to playing them in the play-in if they don't get out and grab that 6th spot. Where are we at with these 3 teams? I think we discussed these 3 teams like a
little bit, but I'm a little upset as even though I'm wearing my Cavs fan hat. If I had my Chicago hat,
Chicago clinched the play-in. I knew he'd say that.
LaVine and DeRozan Sunday afternoon hosting the Memphis Grizzlies, 36 points and 31 points back to back. If those two could do that in those play-in games, man, yeah. I don't know. And the Heat though, we're really talking about the Heat, right? Like.
The Heat could sneak up and jump Brooklyn too.
They are still, so that possible. Is one of the things too. Brooklyn
only needs a game back.
Yeah,
Brooklyn needs to keep winning. They have to wait. Like, they got to stay ahead. I think they have the tiebreaker, I believe, but still, like it's too. They can't be feeling good right now, Brooklyn. And the Brooklyn gets to that 7. Brooklyn could lose both those games to Atlanta, Toronto very easily. I don't think Miami will. I could see Brooklyn losing those games though.
Brooklyn is playing Detroit tonight, though, so they should be a game and a half up on the Heat by the end of tonight. They're playing a practice squad. It's true. That's what Detroit is.
What do you guys think, though, about the East play-in? Because I do like the group of teams. Like, it's not like it
will
like
be a fun play-in.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun plan.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun plan. I actually kind of would really love to see the 9-10 if Toronto jumps Atlanta and it's Atlanta Chicago. There'll be no defense played in that game. That'll be a lot of scoring if it's Atlanta Chicago. But I mean all these playing teams. You know how I feel about it. I think the Heat are the only one who have a legitimate chance to really give any of the top 2 seeds a series. But I mean, I think it'll be fun. I mean, I like Toronto. I like Pascal and Scotty. I mean, Chicago's fun with LaVine and DeMar, and Atlanta, Trae Young can go crazy. And I know their defense has been bad, and we warned about this, but Trae Young and DeJounte Murray could be fun for maybe one of those sudden death playing games.
That's the only team I want out of the playoffs.
I agree. I don't want Atlanta in there either. No, but I think they're all fun teams to a point, but the only one who's a real threat to get if they got out of the plan, it would be Miami in my opinion.
Yeah, it's I have this in the notes here, and it might have not made sense to you guys, but this is just my thinking as a Celtics fan. It's crazy how intertwined the Celtics are with these 3 teams just to end the season here, because whether Boston fans say it or not, no Boston fan wants to see Miami in the first round of the playoffs. Right. That's just a fact. We sent them home by the skin of our teeth last year in a 7-game series, and they're highly motivated. Jimmy Butler and Spoelstra alone should scare us. And then the Hawks, we play our last game of the season, so that could, depending on what they do their other couple games, could decide their fate. And then the Raptors, we have a game against them tonight, and then we have to play them Friday night again. And the Raptors have been playing strong to end the season. They have a tough group of guys, as we all know. So it's just funny that the Celtics could kind of dictate how this play-in tournament for the East shapes up. I'm glad the Bulls are sitting in there, though. I think they'd fare better in this play-in tournament than the Pacers would, even though the Pacers would be fun.
Pacers were fun. They're not ready yet.
No.
It's just not,
But Bulls, who knows, dude? Pat Bev could be jumping up on a scorer's table again, and
bro, they got the play-in All-Star. They got the play-in MVP.
Yeah,
they're ready to roll.
They got Mr. Play-in.
They knew what they were doing.
I just want to see mid-range DeMar. I just want to see mid-range DeMar. Just start pulling up from mid-range. Take 20 shots. Just make 15 of them. Just pulling up in your face.
I will tell you what,
I just want to see that.
I will tell you what, though, if they do make the playoffs somehow, I'm not going to watch them play the Bucks again because they lost by like 40 when I went last year. I will not be doing that again.
That's I mean, and that's the thing, right? We look at these teams. The only team I think could match up well in a series is Miami. None of these teams can defend Milwaukee or Boston besides Miami. I mean, we saw it last year. It's not just like me saying that. We saw the results.
I still don't think Miami can do it. I still don't think Miami can do anything.
I think Miami can do it better than the other.
They can do it better, but Tatum and Brown are so much better, and Butler's going to have some throwback moments, but they're not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to do anything to them this time around.
That's another team.
The only thing in their way is them. Those two are in their own way in that series.
That's another team that I think just doesn't have the bench, and that's probably why they're the 7th seed right now. Anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to be Miami's going to be hoping Hero leads them in score. Hero has to like be a 27 point a game scorer, basically.
Yeah.
I think alongside Jimmy for them to make noise. And I don't know. I'm not as big high on Hero, I think, as you guys.
He could do that at 50% of the games, right? Hero's so up and down where if Hero makes his first 2 shots of the night, you can pencil him in for 30 plus.
Exactly. It literally is.
If he makes those first couple, you're like, all right, Hero's dropping 30 on us tonight. He misses the first couple, you're like, oh boy.
Yeah.
This year, if it is, if Miami and Boston do see each other again, it's not Derek White and a hobbled Marcus Smart, an injured Marcus Smart. It's true. It's Derek White, a healthy Marcus Smart, and Malcolm Brogdon this time around.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Those 3 guys.
Dude, that guard depth's stupid.
When all 3 of them are on, it's actually the funnest thing to watch.
Can we turn this?
It's like better than watching the Jays.
Can we turn it into a Derek White podcast? Can this just
be
not a basketball?
You don't have to ask me.
Derek White. I fucking love Derek White.
He's so nasty.
45 minutes a game. Like, I'm so serious.
Also,
he's so fucking good.
I'm going to make this a clip, too, and I'll probably get yelled at for some more 12-year-olds. But fuck Gilbert Arenas, bro. I don't know if you guys – so random without context, but I'll explain it myself. I don't know if you guys saw this, but last week, I don't know if he has a podcast or if he was on somebody else's, but he was just like, I don't even know what the Celtics are. Like, he's like, they can't win a championship. He was like, Derek White doesn't even know what type of player he is. Like, he just went down our roster and just – he was like, Horford's old and like can't play anymore. I'm like, bro, are you even watching the NBA?
Horford's been playing good this year too.
He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA, dude. Dude, that got me fired up. Especially his comment about Derek White. I don't remember what he said. He's like, he did something to bring down Derek White, and that just pissed me off, bro. Derek White has been nasty this year.
Incredible this year.
Al Horford said Derek White should be first team all defense.
Wow.
He's first. Wow. He's first among guards in block shots and contested shots.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I remember, Donnie, you remember I think we had we both, either I sent it to you earlier, you sent it to me about his contested shot rate was like historic at the beginning of the season. Like when he was first started cooking, he was like the best contested shot rate like in NBA history since they started tracking it or something. Insane. Like dude has just been off the charts good for this team, and I just want to see more.
The other thing with Derek White, too, I know his defense has been great all year, but when one of the Jays is out or someone else is out and Derek White has to step off offensively, he has. Yep. Whether it's scoring, whether it's playmaking, he just has. He stepped up when
he had 26 last night.
Time. I think this one's it's just crazy.
I know. I was just gonna read you guys his stat line because obviously it was everyone's stat line was overshadowed by Embiid last night. 26 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks.
That's a guard right there. That's a guard.
That's like the 5th best player on the Celtics too. Insane. Yeah, I love that. We should do a Derek White segment every week.
Good luck,
Miami. I agree.
Kyle Lowry chasing around Derek White all night.
Yeah, that's comedy, bro.
True.
The one team we haven't even talked about, and I don't know if this is just rude, but the Brooklyn Nets. Let's just quickly thoughts. Do they have a chance to beat Philadelphia?
Yes.
I love Brooklyn Bridges. I love Mikal Bridges. He's stepped up in ways we didn't expect. Their defense has been great since they made the deal. I wonder why, Dallas. But it's just the biggest thing for me, and this is why I'm kind of down on the Nets a little bit if they go up against Philly. The playoffs is so much more about star power than any point in the regular season, right? You got to have that superstar you rely on, whether you're down in the game and you need them to help you bring a comeback, or you just want someone to take over in the fourth quarter. And what worries me a little bit, Dunny, is we've only seen a 2-month sample size of Mikal Bridges being the guy. And I think when you get into a playoff series, especially on the road in a hostile environment, someone who hasn't really ever had to take on that role before, that might be a little tough. So that's where I'm a little bit down on the Brooklyn Nets. It's either Dinwiddie or Bridges to become that guy, and I can't get behind it right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. The only reason I think that they could steal a few games from Philly, if that is, obviously that would be the matchup now. Things are subject to change with these last couple games here. I think they're kind of built correctly to steal a game or two from Philly.
Yeah.
I think they have great perimeter defense. They have great wing defenders, which would bother Maxey and Harden. And then obviously, they don't have the best size in the world, but I think Claxton is enough, and guys, those wing defenders collapsing on Embiid could be enough to bother him for a game or two. So I just, I felt bad we didn't talk about Brooklyn at all, just because they're kind of in the middle where, like, this is a team that just got assembled at the deadline. It's so different from where they started. They shut down Ben Simmons. They have a lot of very above average guys, and that's about it. Aside from Bridges, I'd say Bridges on the verge of a great player. But yeah, and then, they're probably, they could fall into the play-in, which I think they'd probably end up being the best team in the play-in if they fall down there.
Yeah.
But they're just in this they're a tweener team. They're a tweener in the standings. It's just, that's all I can really say about Brooklyn right now.
But I also think, too, they're exceeding expectations. But what we thought the Nets would be after this whole Kyrie KD thing blew up, right?
Yeah, we thought they'd drop like crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. For them to be here is impressive enough as it is. My biggest concern is just I don't think they have that guy who has the experience of stepping up in these types of games. Yeah. And as much as I love Mikal Bridges, I love Mikal Bridges, give him a year, right? He's only been the guy for 2 months. And yeah, he's averaging 27, 5, and 4, and he's shooting at insane clips, but the playoffs are a little different sometimes. And we've seen this with other, blossoming stars where they struggle a little bit in some spots. So give it a year for Bridges.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, they just don't got the punch. I think Spenny brought that up too. He was just worried about the scoring punch, and that's going to be the biggest thing. But hey, if they play Philly, I'm fading Philly no matter who they play in the first round. I don't trust. Joel's been going so ham for this MVP. I don't trust James Harden. That could be it could be quick for Philly if they run into the wrong matchup. So Brooklyn, who knows? Who knows, man?
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. But I'll be fading Philly no matter what.
I want to see them at least steal a game or two if we do get that matchup.
I think they could definitely win a couple games.
All right, Western Conference time. We already talked about a couple of these teams. The Warriors. We talked about how Wiggins comeback's huge. They're going to have to win road games. They're just going to have to do it, whether Steve Kerr and Steph Curry like it or not. They're going to have to get some dubs on the road. And then the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets is who we should talk about first. I mean, obviously all three of us think – I think all three of us think they have something to prove. We talk about depth. I think they have some of the best depth in the league. But Steve, I think it's Steve. It was you at the beginning of the episode, or I don't know. It was one of you two. We only have 3 guys on here. It was one of you two. But now I'm thinking about it. I think it was Jake. But the defense on the Denver Nuggets. Who's gonna fucking play defense for this team? And then
you were right, Tony.
All right, cool. And then we think about the bench, which I love their bench, but their bench isn't great at defense either.
No, that's the thing.
Is Bruce Brown their best defender?
Probably. Probably.
Is Bruce Brown their best defender?
That's the craziest part, right? It's like all these other teams we talk about their, top 3, top 4 stars that are going to be in the playoffs. At least 1 or 2 of them is pretty good on the other end of the court. The Nuggets' 3 best players are the guys that should carry them through the playoffs. And this is the 1 seed we're talking about. The 1 seed Denver Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Jokic, they are all bad defenders. They're just not good defenders right now. And unless something just clicks and they just switch up come playoffs, I don't see it. And that's why I say the Nuggets are a fun regular season team. I just don't know if they could go up against these experienced teams, elite teams with superstars like the Phoenix Suns, like the Los Angeles Lakers, like the Golden State Warriors, and be able to just limit what LeBron could do, or what Curry could do, or what KD could do. Just guys like that. That's where I look at the Nuggets and I'm like, yeah, Jokic is probably going to put up numbers. Murray will probably put up numbers. Michael Porter Jr. have a couple games where he'll be scorching hot. He won't miss anything. But is that enough? I don't know.
I really hope the Lakers get the 8th seed.
Oh, so
that
mean.
would be insane. They're like, I legitimately
I think the Lakers want the 8th seed, to be honest. I think that they would like.
They would rather play Denver than Memphis, right? I was thinking.
I think so, yeah.
Dude, I'm even thinking like if they were, because the Lakers are right now, just the Warriors 42-38, Lakers and Clippers are both 41-38. So they're playing tonight. Play each other tonight. So they will both. One of them will be tied with the Warriors. I don't know how the tiebreaker works. Maybe one of them will be in 5th, and one will be tied effectively with the Pelicans 40-39, who also play tonight. And the Timberwolves 40-40. Like that's the that machination could change in how many different directions with 3 games and everybody playing them. That's so I've never seen anything. Do you guys remember a race being like this?
5 seeds separated by 2 games from the 5 seed to the 9 seed. 2 games with 2 games to go, like 2-3 games to go. Crazy. I mean, I don't remember something like this.
No, and going forward, it's gonna look like this a lot more in years to come, just because of the play-in. Like there's just those that 9 and 10 team are just in contention now. Like that's the great point. It's awesome to be completely honest.
I think we're all in agreement. We love the play-in. Right?
Yeah,
we love the addition of play-in. I'm a huge fan of it.
It gives you like a little primer for the playoffs. Yeah. You get these no stress, unless your team's in it. You get like these no stress.
It's opposite of no stress.
It's like a perfect mix of like March Madness vibes in an NBA basketball game.
Agreed.
It's awesome. Yeah, I love the play-in, but I don't know where depending on how hot the Lakers end the season. Actually, no, I guess they couldn't end the season hot and then also get the 8th seed. But like, where would the money be at in that series for a Lakers Nuggets?
Like a betting line? Like what do you think the series would be? I bet the Lakers would still be underdogs, but I think it would be like
barely though, right?
Plus 120, plus 130. I think it would be as close to a pick 'em as we'd ever see a 1 versus 8.
I think I would hammer Lakers right away because the line would move.
Oh, the public would be smashing the Lakers, right? Yep. I think that'd be obvious, but I don't know if they'd be wrong to. It's a good matchup for them, but also too, like, and this is just me being like, I want to see the Nuggets succeed because the Nuggets have been a good basketball team. They fall short in the playoffs, and it'd be cool to see a guy who's won back-to-back MVPs actually, start to not just himself play well, but his team play well when it comes to the playoffs. Because the one thing where people get so upset why Jokic won 2 MVPs, they're like, oh, just stats, just stuffing stats. Like, he's not really a true MVP. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if Jokic could have a deep playoff run with the Nuggets, not only would that help the Nuggets this year, but that would help Jokic's like legacy and him being like an all-time great big. It would. Yeah. He needs that, though. He needs the success. He needs the playoffs because he's putting up numbers in the playoffs. He's still putting up numbers, but it's like the team just falls short. So I kind of like want the Nuggets to play well. I want them to win a couple series because I think it would be great for Jokic. I think it would also be great for basketball.
Mm-hmm. This is your guys, so both of you here. Just looking at the West, Don, do you have something else on Jokic here?
Nope.
Or the Nuggets in general? All right, because I'm just looking at it in total right now. You have the Nuggets, Grizzlies, and Kings as the first 3 seeds. You have the Suns, Warriors, Clippers, Lakers as the next 4. Which group would you take? Like if you had right now, you would take the second group?
I'm taking the second group still. I'm still taking
me too, like every day.
Yeah, I am. And it's like I said this earlier.
I mean, LeBron, Steph, and KD are in the second group. That's
what I'm saying, right? And Kawhi. The 4 best players in the playoffs. Yeah. I love Jokic. Yeah, right? I love Jokic. He's great. But come playoffs, if we're doing a fantasy draft, you got to pick a player for the playoffs. I'm taking all 4 of those names before Jokic. I am. Mm-hmm. Yep. You have to, right?
Yes.
Two of those guys have the most points out of active players.
when the Lakers, if you're just talking about the Warriors, won the finals, obviously. Suns made the finals 2 years ago, added Kevin Durant.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Lived up to the potential we've given them already. And LeBron James, when he makes the playoffs, he has made the NBA finals. Every other time he's made the playoffs since 2009. So, that's a tough ask for the Kings looking, as the home seed, looking at that 3-6. That's going to be the biggest Vegas thing. No one's going to bet on the Kings, bro. Whoever that 6th seed is.
I don't want to say that. The Kings could get swept as
Oh no! Stop! That's so mean. That's so mean. I want to root for the Kings, dude. I
love it, man. The Lakers. I'm rooting for the Kings the whole way.
I couldn't. I shouldn't have said that.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
They broke their playoff drought after 16 years. If they play the Lakers, they might get swept though.
If it's Kings Clippers aren't playing good defense.
No, they won't get swept.
Match up well there.
Yeah,
Kings could potentially win that.
What is wrong with the Clippers, by the way? I look like a damn fool. I've been saying they're going to win the championship all year. I'm like, oh, it's just because Kawhi has been load managing. Now PG is hurt. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. What is wrong with this team?
But the problem is, as soon as we get off the Clippers, Dunny, that's when Kawhi's going to channel his playoff Kawhi, and it's going to be like, oh my God, the Clippers are incredible. Yep. Like we should have seen this coming with the roster.
Ty Lue has books like this big on every potential of the top 3 seeds of how he's going to shut down their team.
Absolutely.
Ty Lue will be ready for a playoff series. It's been a mess. That's why I'm on the Lakers tonight, even if they're on a back-to-back, because I feel like it's like a playoff game and I'm going to pick LeBron and AD over whatever this mess of a Clippers team is. And Kawhi's going to be awesome tonight. Don't get me wrong.
I think the Clippers are still favored even without PG too.
They were I think it's because of the back-to-back. They were in Utah last night. The Lakers are flying back to LA, but I mean it's a home game for them really. So it's not like it's the worst case scenario. It's just crazy that all 3 of us are like, we're taking the 4 through 7 seeds, and I think you'd be stupid not to. I really do. I really do.
I do too.
Let those other teams prove it.
It's the fact that those guys are all part of those teams, man. Like Steph, KD, LeBron, and Kawhi. That's all.
And maybe we're gonna look dumb, and this is just the changing of the guard year. But I feel like it's also just the good teams had injuries all year, and now they're getting healthy at the right time.
And I think too, once we see the lines come out for a playoff series, I think they're going to be more on our side, where these are going to be much closer to pick'ems, or the lower seeds are going to be favored rather than what you would expect, right? When a 1 plays, when a 3 plays a 6, when a 2 plays a 7. So I don't think it's crazy to say that you're going to take those 4 teams over the top 3, because the Kings don't have playoff success. They haven't been there. No one on the roster for the most part has even been there. There's a couple guys.
Yeah.
The Nuggets,
Sabonis got beat like LeBron.
Limitation. That's the thing. Sabonis, his kryptonite is AD and LeBron. He's got to go up against both. Good luck. And then you look at the Grizzlies, and I think the Grizzlies are a fun team, but my biggest thing with the Grizzlies, I think the Grizzlies can beat themselves sometimes. And I think that's really going to hurt the Grizzlies. So I think the top 3 teams have as many, limitations or things that are just kind of, shying me away from them as much as the 4 through 7 teams do. But I'm just going to go with star power. Then I said it. The NBA playoffs, I like to lean more towards the superstars who have proven themselves in the playoffs, because it's a different type of game and it's a different type of pressure. And these guys have all shown it that they have overcome that pressure, and they step up in the big moments before, where the top 3 seeds, not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The West is going to be. I mean, we've been saying it all episode.
It's going to be so much fun. I literally can't wait.
So hyped, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for the playoffs this year.
The last thing I
think more so than I've been in a long time for the first round. Yeah. I think the first round is going to be electric.
Chaos.
The last thing I'll bring up about the Lakers is how did we get here? I thought they were we all were they're dead.
Really good moves.
Everybody said they were dead. Yeah, those really deadline moves were crazy. I mean, they're a different team.
And they didn't look it at the time, right?
And Austin Reeves is a superstar now. He's legit a
Austin
superstar.
Reeves has been unbelievable.
He had 28 last night.
I thought I got God. He has his own signature shoe now. I thought it was fake, bro. He, like, I don't even remember the brand, which is that's probably why. It's probably
Austin Reeves is about to get
no-name.
like 5 for $90 million this offseason. Like, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of joking about that, but that's also a guy who saw competition come in and just stepped up, and now he's playing in an even bigger role than he was before, and they have better pieces behind him. It's just crazy because we all thought they were dead when LeBron went down. We were all sure of it. We were like, well, you know, it was fun, but they really would have to like pull it together. And what'd they do? They fucking pulled it together.
Yeah, they did. Austin Reeves in March averaging 17, 4, and 6. Like,
I mean,
to be
awesome.
Your technically fourth option, right? Fourth option after
Rui's
LeBron, AD, and Russ. I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been amazing, man. It's weird. It's honestly just the best way to describe it is weird. It's like,
but it's been a fun wrinkle in the West now because now the West
Yeah.
is just that much more interesting because they're a team like we just talked about all these teams that have struggled, injuries back and forth. We knew what their potential could be if they were healthy. Let's just see them healthy. Let's just see them healthy.
All trying to get to.
They're all
trying to get
there.
there. Mm-hmm.
Maybe load management works.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
No, because look at the Clippers, bro.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Last thing, I was gonna try to make this its own segment, but honestly, I have NBA teams are weird on social media. It might just be TikTok. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but NBA like legit like the teams' TikTok pages. Are just like in random videos comments. I don't know if it's like an algorithm thing where like they'll go to a video that has like millions of views or millions of likes just because they know people are going to be in the comments to like get attention. But I was on TikTok yesterday and long story short, it was like this video of like this mom and her son like shot her with a Nerf gun dart and she fell off a ladder.
With the paint over the couch.
And I was like, that was staged. So I went to the comments because I'm always like, oh, people have to agree with me that this was fake. And the Utah Jazz like official account commented and said first because you know people like will comment like first one here, but they were like it was a post that was like days ago and this was like 2 hours ago. I'm like, who the hell is running the Utah Jazz?
We got too many Gen Zs running these accounts now because they want the trendy stuff on TikTok, so they hire the intern.
What is going on with NBA teams' social media accounts? I'm like, is this like a common practice or the Utah Jazz just fucking weird?
Well, that's the thing, too. You'll see someone randomly be like, oh, I'm going to try to get all 30 NBA teams to comment on this random TikTok I'm doing. And they do.
Yeah,
and they all do. It's like, what are you doing? You're the official account for a professional team. What are we doing? The interns, man. The interns are crazy.
Could not be the more bizarre thing for an NBA team to comment on. But, yeah, I just thought that, and I was like, are these teams just weird as hell on social media? But
what a reaction by the lady to the Nerf dart, though. If no one's seen that video,
so overblown, man.
I mean, what are we doing?
It was great acting, though.
Dart. Oh, it was awful acting. It was so bad. It was like, what are you doing?
It had like almost 7 million likes, so it may have been worth it. But you did just cover yourself and your couch in paint.
It looked so. I was no, it wasn't.
No,
I was so mad. I was so mad watching it. This is the dumbest thing ever. Like exactly. Like I guess you went viral sick. Like you're a dumbass though. You went viral for being stupid. Where's the line?
I can't wait until our listeners get through this whole episode, and then just the end is us breaking down a viral TikTok.
As we should.
That's what they're.
You've seen it too. Everyone's seen
that stupid video.
Yeah, so funny, bro. Well, not the video, just the fact that the Utah Jazz are in the comments. Like
I didn't even know the Jazz commented on that. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was just looking through to like see people wrote because I didn't want to take the time out of my day to comment and something hateful, but I was like, someone else had to have shit on this video.
TikTok saying something bad on TikTok comments? What?
No. I think that'll do it though. That was a great little playoff preview. I'm jacked up.
Next week it's playing. Next week we are
games to talk about next week.
We have do or die basketball.
We'll actually know who's playing who. Finally, this is crazy.
We got one series
year where we're just
we know Cavs Knicks. We know Cavs Knicks.
We do know Cavs Knicks.
My worst nightmare of a first round series coming to fruition. It's not the team. It's just I can't stand the Knicks. Why did it have to be the Knicks?
Knicks fans
Bing
in the
bong.
playoffs.
Bing bong. I will say it's nice. I would like to say like I'm happy to see a Cavs playoff game, but I feel disingenuous saying that. So like, you know, like I feel like if I was actually like genuinely saying that, people would be like, you're an asshole. So it's just another day at the office for the Cavs, really. Back to where we should be.
Fair enough, man. I like that. I like that mindset.
All right.
Yeah. Anything else?
That'll do it, folks. No, I think that'll do it. Follow us at Happy Hour Hoops 1 on all social. Follow Trainwreck Sports. Follow the three of us. If you haven't yet, go check us out on YouTube because while we're speaking right now, we're also on video. Follow us on TikTok. Everything. Throw us a follow. Throw us the subscribe.
It's the same name.
Roast us on TikTok.
Everywhere. Yeah. Roast me. Roast us. And please stay tuned for playoffs, man. This is where we really like to ramp it up. We like to interact with other people on Twitter, everything. Playoffs are going to be amazing. Let's take the ride together.
Hell
Later,
yeah.
guys.